Hello. Oh, here we go. We're live now. Here we go. All right. It says we're live. So cool. All right, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a little hiatus that we've taken. And, just so you know, Nevada Nick hasn't signed his contract tender. So he may or may not be with us this evening, so he's still his agent. Well, he needs his own agent. He doesn't have an agent. He's trying to negotiate his own thing, and it's kind of costing him because he doesn't have an agent negotiating for him. That's the part of the problem. So yeah, and we have that going on, and I hear quite an echo, believe it or not. I don't know if that's on your end as well there, Professor.
No, but we can both turn on echo cancellation.
Where do I find that button?
Go to your settings.
Yes.
Click on audio.
Yes.
And click on echo cancellation.
I already have it clicked. It's checked.
Do you hear echo now?
A little bit, but it's not too bad. But
cool.
Okay, cool. We'll work it. We'll work through it. It's been a while. Took a little hiatus, and I had a little scheduling snafu. I was, we originally do this on draft night, as you know, and it just didn't work out that way. So we're here tonight, and possibly Billy may or may not join as well, him and his contract as well, trying to get some of that worked out. So but I really want to, before we get in, what's up, Angela? How you doing, man? I wanted everyone to know that I actually met the devil today. I met the devil, and Professor was actually with me to witness this. Okay. I met the devil. Okay. And I'm going to quote the devil so you know that this is for real. I hate the smell of bacon.
End quote.
Thank you. I mean, that right there. And what were the words out of my mouth there, Professor?
You're the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's probably, it was an 8-foot table, and it was a female saying that. So probably if it was a male, they probably would have got a smack in the face of some sort for talking such slanderous words. It so offensive that, I really had trouble functioning the rest of the day. And honestly, what I did, I went out, I bought some bacon, and I made sure I ate bacon for dinner.
I'm not mad at that. I also had some bacon as well. And it was funny because listening to that, it was like, I don't eat meat, but I do eat fish, but only salmon. And I don't eat meat except for Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets.
So is that like a how do you put that in? I only eat Chick-fil-A nuggets. Like, is that its own category of I don't know how that works. How are you
let me finish your sentence for you, Coach, so we
can
move on.
That. Can we do that? Can we do that? Because I can't multitask. I just can't do it, and I'm trying to let folks know that we're live right now. And
so what Coach is trying to say is there some phrase, because there's pescatarian for those who eat fish only, and there's vegetarian if you eat cheese, and there's vegan if you eat no animal products at all. So where does it fall if you eat all the vegetables in the world and the fruits, but you only eat Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets and salmon as your meats?
Yeah.
We got to come up. It's like, can I curse on the show?
Yes, you can. We're not bound anymore by any 4-letter networks anymore.
All right, then here we go. It's a what the fuckitarian.
Yeah, what the fuckitarian. I love it. I love it. You know, so that's a good one, man. And Sammy, buddy, yeah, I know you are dancing in the streets right now as a
Commanders fan.
Commanders fan. Yes, whatever you want to call yourselves now. Still a Redskin fan, so we'll get into some of that, and yes, we will talk some Jets. And it is Angelo, I know you're excited, but it's a typical Jets move, brother. Typical Jets move, and I will get in there. So, and James, the Giants, it's fine. It's not 1980. We don't need a ground and pound. We can do it by committee, and it makes Daniel Jones have to throw the football. And in case you forgot, the Giants made this little trade and got I want to say, is he a top 5 tight end in the league or someone there? And this little nugget for you. So write this down, Sammy. Make sure you jot this down for when you play the Giants. Okay, that way back. I know we have to go back a couple of years into the OBJ era, but when OBJ went down with an injury, and teams put 9 in the box to stop Saquon his rookie year, a guy by the name of Evan Ingram was the number 1 rated tight end in the entire NFL the last 5 weeks of the season. I'm just saying, putting it out there. Now you actually have a guy who's going to catch the ball on 3rd down to seal a game against the Eagles. And we can move on with our day. So I am pretty stoked about that deal right there. All right.
You talking about Darren Waller, Coach?
Yes, I would be talking about Darren Waller. Can't wait. I'm excited.
It is amazing to me the ineptitude of Josh McDaniels to not effectively use his weapons and just get rid of people, allow people to walk. I don't know how people get second and 3rd chances in this league, because this is technically his 3rd chance.
Correct.
And it blows my mind because there's some guys out there who still haven't even had a shot in for a head coaching position, but they keep going to Josh McDaniels, who took a playoff team with the Raiders just a year ago and made them look like a laughing stock. Got rid of Derek Carr. I mean, just a lot of weird moves, but it's to the Giants' benefit to get Waller.
Yeah, for a pick that we got so basically Kadarius Toney is now Darren Waller.
Yeah,
which, you know what, and you can say what you want. Oh, Kadarius Toney was a 1st-round pick, but technically we got probably equal or better value in return for that pick. When people said, "Oh, we only got a 3rd." For him, but look what you got. That was the 3rd round pick we sent to the Raiders. So
yeah,
I'm pretty stoked about it. I can't wait to see what this offense looks like. Because here we go, man, fired up. So yeah, and now I know, because with Sammy here, I know, brother, I want to throw this out, and unfortunately Coach Billy's not joining us, but we have a former player that Coach Billy and I had where we coached during his high school career. We were and now he's got an opportunity to hear his name called this weekend, which I am totally fired up for Robert Mitchell this weekend, and hope. I've been saying all along, I know we've touched base on this throughout the college football season and whatnot, and I've been saying this, he's going to be in an NFL camp, but really excited and hope to hear, because something about hearing your name called, someone walking up to the podium and calling your name, pretty cool cool thing. I bet he's pretty jacked up this week. I wish him all the best, man. And I just want to say this, Robert. And I know, everybody's going to be banging down the door, tickets, everything else. Listen, just take my phone number. And there is a pretty side judge that works a lot of those NFL games. She's got the ponytail. If you could just pass my number to her, I would greatly appreciate that. That's all I need from you, bro. And we'll be good. So, I just wanted to throw that out there because I know everybody's going to be asking for lots of things. And that's my ask, really. I just thought I'd throw it out there. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. It will be it's going to be a fun, exciting weekend. We got a lot to get to because like Angelo jumped in earlier, the Jets did something typical Jets, and Aaron Rodgers is just following the typical Brent Favre playbook. He's following the playbook that Brent Favre has done. I mean, you complained about being in his shadow, but here you are. You went from Green Bay to the Jets, and didn't Brent Favre go from Green Bay to the Jets? I know that happened a while ago. I'm not 100%, but I think that's what happened. And I don't think the Jets gave up as much as they did for Mr. Rodgers, though.
I don't remember what the numbers were for that Brett Favre situation, but it's interesting too because they both had one Super Bowl apiece. For all.
But Brett Favre played in two. They went back to back and lost to the Denver.
Yes, coach, but Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers still only won one.
Yes, they only won one, yes. But you know what? Brett Favre was able to take his team twice to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm just saying in the amount of years. So I just want to we have to make that, he was able to replicate it more than once, which is, a lot of guys can't do. And Aaron Rodgers right now isn't been able to do that.
There were some years where they had a lot more talent offensively than, the knock in Green Bay is that they haven't given him wide receiver help in a while, but there were some years where it just didn't make sense to not make that title game. So I agree with you. And some of that has to fall on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders, but it can fall everywhere else too. I
agree. I think more not the receiver because he had Devontae Adams for a while.
Jordy Nelson.
I think Randall Cobb. Really goes on the defense side. They really never went and got a defense that could stack up. Because I think they just were like, okay, we're going to outscore people, and then when you finally were able to shut them down, you were stuck in the mud.
Well, what happened is when they improved the defense, they did it at the sake of, like they had to sacrifice the offense. So they never built a balanced team, and that's the problem. So you don't like this deal too much, and I'm curious as to why. What's the issue? You don't feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to a more talented team?
It's not that. It's just, come on, it's the Jets. The Jets are the Jets. I mean, they're the mush of everything they touch turns to shit. Let's face that. I mean, it's just the Jets. But yes, I mean, that defense is young. They've got that is a defense that I feel like, they can win by just scoring 17 points a game with that defense. But my point, and you probably would agree with this, Baltimore and Tampa both won Super Bowls with pedestrian-esque type quarterbacks because they had a defense built like that.
Yeah, but that was also 20 years ago and the league has changed. But you're correct. Now listen, last year.
But you have again, let me finish with the Jets. Their offense, I know they got Bryce Hall coming back from injury. You watch Saquon, took him actually 2 years to get to that back to kind of, we saw flashes last year. But point I'm making is their offense is good enough that they have a top-notch receiver on their again committee of running backs. I really think could really carry them, and I didn't think they needed to give up as much as they did for an Aaron Rodgers. Derek Carr would have fit that bill a lot cheaper. I honestly, you could have put a veteran in there for a lot cheaper. Is my point. It didn't have to be Aaron Rodgers.
I agree with that. Nevada Nick is in the chat. He's in the chat. Pulled a hammy working out in a pre-draft workout with the Eagles.
Yeah.
But Nevada Nick makes a great point, man. Rodgers joins a crowded AFC where, you stay in the NFC and you're in a lot better position to make. We just talk about if you're just making the Super Bowl, you're in a lot better. Now he's going to be involved in shootouts in the playoffs.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty tough. I mean, first of all, you have
his own division.
Because the Dolphins have stepped up. Obviously, it's the Bills now, and you really can't count out Belichick until for right now. So it's anybody's really in your own division. But when you get out of the division, you got to face Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's some guys that are, and Justin Herbert. And of course you got Russell Wilson in Denver. So you got a bunch of guys.
I'm surprised after last year you're mentioning Russell Wilson in Denver, but but you're correct. I know you say same old Jets, but I see a culture change from what I can see with the head coach, the defense, putting together the offensive pieces. Did they whiff twice on quarterbacks? Yes, which is why they're trying to go to a very proven commodity in Aaron Rodgers, who's saying now that he's going to give them at least 2 years, if not more. So Nevada Nick coming through with those points, man. Talking about the quarterbacks.
Yep. I still just think that it's a little different in New York than Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay has probably the minimal amount of reporters showing up every day at practice. And I understand it's Aaron Rodgers. You're going to have a zoo, but you have not seen the zoo until you've been in New York. And from New York, you talk, and I go back to baseball. How many guys always talk about wanting to go to New York, and when they get here, they crap the bed? Sonny Gray, Gallo, just some recent Yankees that have done that. But there's been a lot of guys that really couldn't make it. Brett Favre, one of them. I mean, there's another guy couldn't handle the New York media with that. So and Aaron Rodgers, what's he going to do? Go back into his little hut and meditate? And New York's not going to allow that. I mean, especially the Jets start out 1-3. I mean, could you imagine a 1-3 start? And they're going to be screaming for Aaron Rodgers' head. I don't think he'll be able to handle that. So,
I just think he loves the attention. And I think he's going to be able to, because especially last year, he showed you.
He loves the attention in his way. In his way, New York, it doesn't work that way in New York. You don't get to dictate it. He's been in a small market. He's been able to dictate things. Okay. And now in New York, when there is 500 reporters at practice, we're talking about practice now. We're talking about practice, not a game. We're talking about practice. Okay. We're talking about practice when 500 guys show up and start jamming questions down on silliness, but we'll see.
RELAX. Relax, coach.
I'm who's your top 3 QBs in the NFC? Who's my top 3 in the NFC? Really, Jalen Hurts is my guy. I've been on his bandwagon since Jump Street. If I did have to talk you and Billy off the ledge. He did take his team to the Super Bowl. So I think you start there, and I think everything else is a crapshoot. Honestly, where else do you go as in top three? I mean, honestly, I really can't name anybody to go. I mean, you say Matthew Stafford is still a top three quarterback. I don't think he is. I think he's, you know, I think he just waited too long to move on, but he was lucky enough to get a ring, and I think he's done. I just don't. I really don't see it, honestly.
I mean, Nick mentions he mentions Goff and Geno Smith, talking about the
Come on,
struggles of
Geno Smith, one hit wonder. Geno Smith, who, I mean, really, you're basing it on a one hit wonder. Does that make him? Then Daniel Jones is a top three guy. It hurts, but I mean, Geno is a one hit wonder. I mean, he's going in still having to compete for a job. So I don't really.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that Geno Smith actually just needed a little time to get some seasoning on him, and is in a good place in Seattle. I think we'll have another good year out of him. At least I'm predicting 3 more quality years of Geno Smith as quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm saying that right now, personally.
Okay. All right. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not, because if you're going to tell me Geno Smith is a top 3, then I'm going to have to put Daniel Jones in that conversation, because I'm taking Daniel Jones over Geno Smith 9 times out of 10. I'm sorry. I mean, Daniel Jones at least won a playoff game. Correct. I'm just saying,
So Anthony chimed in, has a great question, because we should start talking about the draft, Coach.
Yes, we'll do that.
He wants to know who's your sleeper and bust player in the draft tomorrow. I'm so just tomorrow, Coach, not the overall draft.
All right, not the overall, because you know where I'm going. If you're going to tell me overall, we've already touched base with my boy. Tomorrow, honestly, I don't know, because I really have been looking at the Giants need a center, and really there's not really a first round center. So do the Giants trade back? And is there a guy that, okay, maybe he's the, a 35 or a guy, and you take him a little early at 25? Because I really think that center is the bigger need than wide receiver. We were okay with the pedestrians last year. You got to so what Wan'Dale Robinson is coming off his injury, and so does Sterling Shepard. But you're adding Waller to that mix, and so I really think that you need to focus on center. We have some guards that were injured that are going to come back, and of course we have our 2 bookends at tackles, and I think we'll be fine. But I really think center is the key piece we need to get in the first round. So I like the kid from Minnesota, but he's not rated that high. So do the Giants trade back? I don't know. But if you're asking me, I think honestly, as far as a bust, out of the, I think I think it's going to be Richardson from Florida. I don't think he's ready. I think he needed 1 more year of seasoning. I don't think he's ready to come in and play for an NFL team. I mean, if he goes somewhere, he could sit behind somebody and learn. It may be, but I think if you're going to throw him to the fire, I don't think he's the guy.
I think he has to go somewhere where he learns. I think that, and I would hope that most of the GMs would be smart enough to think that too. But we've seen some bonkers stuff in the history of just even you and I knowing each other and watching NFL drafts. We've seen some crazy stuff from GMs, and we also know that as long as the Indianapolis owner is there, wild things can happen.
Yeah, they can, and I really am interested to see. Carolina, they traded up to get the first pick, and you know, the size thing from the kid from Alabama really kind of
Concerning.
concerns me because you see another smaller guy and you see what kind of issues he's having down in Miami. So and CJ Stroud really put together. He looks really good and Levitz, or I don't know if I'm even saying his name right. The kid from Kentucky, big strapping kid, but he made a lot of interception prone, and that really doesn't translate too well to the next level.
And that's my bust, by the way. My bust pick is Will Levis.
Okay,
or Levis or Levi's or whatever, whatever his name is. We don't need to care because he's going to be the next Zach Wilson. I've been seeing Twitter's been destroying Zach Wilson today. They're talking about like, welcome to Zach Willis Family Honda. Like they've already got him selling cars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Aaron, just don't bring your mom to New York because Zach might try to date her.
Oh no, he'll bang her.
Yeah, I mean, because he's more interested in MILFs than playing quarterback, I guess. So
Nevada Nick mentioned Richardson to Seattle. I've seen that. I like it. I just don't know if I like it that high in the draft.
Yeah, that's just I agree. I just don't see him as being a first round guy. But they have those guys all going pretty high, so anything can happen. So I'm scared of the Seahawks. They get
Jalen Carter
and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers, okay, really good. I and because he's a guy I talked about the Giants, kid from Boston College, receiver.
Yep.
But I honestly, I really think we need more of a Plexico Burris type on the outside. We have enough short guys, 6 feet and under. We need a 6'4" guy on the outside. We've got enough of those short, fast guys, playing the slot. I really think we need to go and find a taller receiver. I like the kid from Tennessee. I don't think he'll be around though. Is it Watts? I forget, but he had a great game against Alabama, the wide receiver from Tennessee. So we'll see.
I mean, you got in terms of the receivers, you've got some guys that are moving up the board right now. I can't remember the one guy's name, but he's 6'2", 220 pounds, and they're talking about him like a DK Metcalf.
Oh, hi. Yeah, thank you, Nevada Nick.
Yeah, and it is interesting to me. There's the one guy. He's got the crazy name. I can't pronounce it, but he's really good with his root tree. But I can't. It's like, oh, yeah. Jackson Smith Nigba from Ohio State.
Right.
But he's undersized, correct?
Yeah, he's another undersized guy. That's
is Zay. See, I thought Zay Flowers was big bodied.
No, he's 6 foot. That's what he is. He's not a 6'3", 6'4" guy,
Gotcha.
And I think as a Giant fan, if you're going to go receiver, I think it's got to be a big guy. You went last year, you got that Wan'Dale Robinson, who's that small scat back slot guy. You already have Shepard. I know he's coming off another injury and he be around, but the pedestrians that you did keep around are smaller guys, so we need to find a bigger body.
So, and Nevada Nick mentions, I want to talk about a couple things, but he mentions, the guy from Ohio State being a stud, and I agree because they talk about his average speed, but like we're talking he didn't do well in the combine. On the field, his speed translates to the game. and his separation and route running is already pro level. So he doesn't need a lot of coaching up in that first year as a rookie. So good on him. I think he's going to be a steal for whoever gets him. Yeah, there you go. 4 touchdowns in the bowl game last year. And the hands, and then I want to go back to what Anthony Price was mentioning real quick. He talked about the idea of the Seahawks getting Hendon Hooker in the second round, but I keep seeing all kinds of reports that Hendon Hooker's draft stock is rising up so much that he might be a first rounder. So, Coach, where would you see him go in the first?
See, again, he's a guy that I could see. Hey, Denver. I mean, you're not going to re-sign Wilson. I mean, here's a guy you could bring in, let him sit behind Wilson for a year and take over. Minnesota, another spot I could see him at Minnesota because Kirk Cousins is on his way out the door there. So I mean, the guy's got a cannon for an arm. I mean, he could throw it 80 yards on a rope. So. And I think his problem, I believe, he was injured prone and, bounced around. I think he was a Michigan guy for a little bit and went, and then moved, finally wound up in Tennessee. But I think he can, he'd be a great pick for a team that needs, if he could sit behind somebody and learn. That would be a good spot for him.
I feel like out of the 5 guys we mentioned, that maybe the first 2 can play the first year, but the other 3 should sit. Levis, Richardson, and Hooker should probably have at least a year or 2 to sit and learn. Anthony Price mentions no love for Jordan Addison. I think what Coach was talking about was size-wise. What's the height on Addison?
And I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I'm, like I said, I've really, since the Giants have gotten Waller, I've really focused my attention more on the center position for the Giants. I've really kind of, it's very deep in receivers. And I think the Giants will be able to get one in the third round that would be, could step in and play. He said Jay Cutler or Carson Wentz. Man, listen, Jay Cutler had a pretty decent career. I mean, you're going 2 ends of the spectrum, Carson Wentz and Jay Cutler. I mean, Jay Cutler, he was pretty bad at the end of his career, but he played pretty well for the Bears for a while and then Denver. So
would you have taken Jay Cutler over Daniel Jones?
Which Jay Cutler am I getting?
A better question. Would you have taken Jay Cutler over Eli Manning?
No.
Okay.
No. I actually, and I had Ben Roethlisberger over Eli. I thought the Giants were going with Ben, and even Ben says that the Giants, if they didn't work out the trade for Eli, they were going to take Ben. And I really felt like, why would you give up all that you gave up for Eli? Obviously, it worked out. You win 2 Super Bowls. Who cares what you gave up? But
let's also talk behavior, because if you had put Big Ben Roethlisberger,
you're right, in New York,
you're right, with his behavior at the time,
yes,
Page 6 would have had a field day.
You're right.
God,
you're right. Wait. Which Daniel Jones are you getting?
Oh, Nevada Nick, if you haven't heard, Coach is loving Daniel Jones of last year, who got him to the playoffs.
Yeah, he won a playoff game. Okay, I'm still look, and I've been, my biggest knock on Daniel Jones was he was the 6th overall pick. Okay, the 6th overall pick. He still would have been there at 18. And where's our 18th pick? Is he serving time or he's just out of the league? One or the other, I don't know. But still, he would have been there at 18. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. 18 is good. Shucks, the kid from Clemson, the defensive tackle, is playing phenomenal. I apologize with that. It was the third and final first round pick that year that is out of the league in DeAndre Baker.
That's right. Yeah.
But Daniel Jones would have still been there,
Nevada Nick is just throwing daggers. You got to put these up. Got to put these up for the viewers, man. Put these up for the viewers. Man, this is good stuff.
Wait, you can do it. They've changed the font here. Like, I don't know, because it's, we've been on a hiatus for a while. I haven't been able to play with this, so I can't make it big enough for me to actually see it. So, but yeah, anyway, look, I mean, yes, the Giants won a playoff game against a team that probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs. And frankly, the Giants, they piecemealed their team together and won some games, which is positive. That, hey, look what can happen when we have a full team together. You're right. Coach can't multitask. I've been telling you how long we've been doing this.
Listen, man, early in the show, he was trying to talk about pescatarians, and he almost spent 4.5 minutes trying to get the word out.
Oh man, unbelievable, because they got a thing up top now, and I can't even see the clock. Like, how long we've been on the air. Like, I can't manage my clock or anything.
I can. We've been on 36 minutes. Barely talked about
I haven't talked any draft stuff at all, man. All right. Let's get into some draft picks. And I think we're just going to focus on our local guys, and some others, with that. And I think what we should start with, because we're going to need some time, is with you, Professor, and your Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Because you've got a nut job playing quarterback. And what I mean by that is, he doesn't have an agent. He's cost himself almost $200 million that he will never get back because he doesn't have an agent.
So if he signs, if he plays, right?
Right.
In their situation where they're at, they've got OBJ now. The question was asked by Nevada Nick, do the Ravens take a QB? I've seen Anthony Richardson. I hate that, because
I didn't like that either, because everybody thinks they're the same, and
they're not.
Right.
I maybe Hendon Hooker in that position. I don't like this quarterback class. I don't think, like, if I was a GM, I'd be conservative as all get out. Like, a quarterback has got to wow me. Or I got to have somebody in place that can groom a guy for success, right? If the Ravens are going to take a quarterback, I would say Hendon Hooker. But in the first round, you mentioned second round, I agree, Nevada Nick.
Right.
In the first round, to me, I either think you have to address the cornerback position, or you have to address the wide receiver position still, because the wide receiver position is still not fixed in Baltimore by a long shot. So guys that might be available there are, Smith Nigba might be there, if I'm saying his name right. Quentin Johnson might be there. Zay Flowers might be there. That's a good question. Can Lamar sign the tag, play for 6 months, and then sit out again so he won't lose his money? Listen, it is such a mess in Baltimore right now. But the fact that they signed OBJ, it gives me two things. Either Lamar Jackson's definitely coming back, or OBJ just took the most money he could get out of a team, which was the Ravens.
I think it's the latter, and I honestly think that they were in in South Beach partying together was OBJ trying to talk him back into signing in and coming in because he didn't want to play with a rookie quarterback.
Right. But I have to wonder, like, with I think it was 18 million for a year, right?
Mhm.
Something ridiculous. It was 3 million more than any other team was going to offer him, guaranteed money. So no matter who he plays for, he's making bank. He could suck.
Right.
He could be awful. He could get 400 yards.
But also that tells you, the Greg Roman era is over in Baltimore. So now you're gonna, they're gonna draft some receivers and start, throwing the football around.
But they historically cannot just I'm talking from the front office, right?
Yeah.
Before Greg Roman ever got there, Ozzie Newsome and his team could not draft a wide receiver. And then it went to Eric DaCosta, and he could not draft a wide receiver in the first round to save his life. So I'm scared every time they draft a wide receiver in the first round. I just get worried because it doesn't work out.
And New England has that problem too.
And if anybody thinks that Marquise Brown was a good draft pick, we need to talk about what state you live in, and if there's medical marijuana or legal, what's legal in your state. Have you been hanging out with Aaron Rodgers for 4 days in a house doing shrooms? Like, what is going on?
And apparently now in Delaware, soon to be recreationally available. So we need to be, on the lookout for our listeners to come off half cocked.
Yeah. So I do think that the Ravens, overall as an organization, decent track record when you think about they've been around since 96 and they're drafting in the first round for the most part has paid dividends. So I think, especially if they draft defense, that they're going to just have a blue chipper pick. Wide receiver is really, really, really spotty track record. So I would like to see them draft defense, and I want to see them try and go after DeAndre Hopkins. I know, Coach.
I don't think he's going now that OBJ's there, because you have two basically one number one. Why am I going to go with OBJ? You know what I mean? I want to be the guy. I can still be the guy. You know what I mean?
Well,
I still feel like Hopkins can be the guy.
I agree with that, except for the fact that it is a passing league. So why would Devontae Smith want to play with A.J. Brown? Well, they both got fantastic numbers last year playing with the Eagles because they're both getting the ball. That ball is being distributed.
I know he's not a number one. I've said in their mind, they're both number ones. They both want the football, and that's great. But Baltimore hasn't proved they can throw the football, and Lamar hasn't proved he can throw the football either at that type of throw rate. So really, do I really want to go and gamble on that, or do I want to go somewhere where I know they're running an offense that they're throwing the football, and I'm gonna compliment a Darren Waller type guy.
So for me, and I'm mad at Lamar, right? So I'm mad at Lamar, but I will say that last year, watching like the film that they would put up, he was making his reads, he was going through his progressions. It was Greg Roman that held him back in that offense because it wasn't balanced. I believe that Lamar can sling it, and I believe that.
I think he can sling it, but my point is that he hasn't proven he can in the league. And yes, it is Greg Roman's point, but as a free agent receiver who still thinks he's a number one, do I really want to go and put myself in the experiments when my clock is ticking, when I could go to a team that is already throws the football and I know I'm going to get my catches, especially with a lot of these contracts being, catch incentives and yards and all that stuff. Do I really want to be stuck in that type of contract with an unproven commodity, basically?
Right. I agree. But OBJ is taking that gamble.
But you needed to be the first guy to go to Baltimore because he's the only guy who can catch the football in Baltimore.
I'm just wondering, just kicking the tires, if DeAndre Hopkins gets the money he's looking for, does that make it a cure-all? That's my wonder. And Nevada Nick makes a great point. Look what the Eagles did for Hurts. They surrounded Hurts with just absolute blue chipper stud players. And by the way, I want to go ahead. I'm going to segue for a quick minute because I want to make sure, because time is of the essence. We could talk all night about the Ravens. For the Eagles, I'm strictly going to address the number 10 pick. And I believe that what I would do there, it seems high, but Bijan Robinson looks to be, I know you don't like it, Coach, but Bijan Robinson looks to be a potentially generational quarterback. And if they can pick him up, their offense is unstoppable.
You mean running back? Yes, but I just
what did I say? Quarterback?
You said quarterback. Yes,
that's because that's all we've talked about tonight. Running back.
No, I listen. I think the Eagles are aging on that defensive line. I really think if the kid from Georgia falls, it's a no-brainer. But also, I think corner, or you're trading back. If you're the Eagles, you've got the luxury because you have 2 picks. You're going to trade back, but I still think they go corner D lineman. I think that's where they go. Yeah. See, thanks, Nick. I appreciate you agreeing with me for once. So I think if Robinson's there at the back end of the draft of the first round, he's there. They take him, but I don't see them. I don't see them taking him that high or anybody. I mean, I see him going in the 20s somewhere.
I mean, and also there's the chance later on with their other pick of Jahmyr Gibbs, who keeps just skyrocketing up the board.
Yeah,
as well.
some crazy nut in one of the Giants chats that I belong to thought that Gibbs would be there in the 3rd round and it would be a great pickup for the Giants. I was like, look, HR called. You need to go pee in a cup, you numbnut, because that kid's not going to be around in past round number 40. I think he's a top 40 guy. I don't know that he gets out of the first round, but it's not going to be long into the 2nd round that he goes.
Right. I've also seen vicious rumors that the Eagles might trade for Derrick Henry, and what kills me about that is he's gonna hit that wall soon. I think he's a genetic freak.
Yeah,
but he's also had injuries. And there's eventually that tire wears off, the tread wears off the tires. And so why would you want to take that risk, right now, unless you're going to, say F them picks? What do you give up for him?
I don't think I give up. I don't think I make that move. If I'm the Eagles, I don't need to. You don't. Your offense isn't based around. You don't have to lean on the run as that much. I just don't make that move. He doesn't fit the offense in Philadelphia.
But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is run wise, right?
Right.
The Eagles. What if you grab that stud? And I'm no disrespect to Miles Sanders, but what if you grab that?
I don't think that makes a difference because Nick Sirianni comes from that same tree. He's very similar to Doug Peterson, Andy Reid, and they really forget the run. They get so focused on the pass and they really forget the run sometimes. And it gets real glaring when they lose. But because they win, they're winning. You kind of overlook that, but they just aren't because okay. And you could say, oh well, Miles Sanders was rushing 5 yards a carry. Why aren't you doing that more? Well, yeah, because you threw the ball 100 times during the game and they were playing pass. Of course he's going to get those yardage. Any back there can get that. And I think that's the way the Eagles are looking at it. We can really get a guy in the 3rd or 4th round and put him back there and let him, and be our guy.
I guess that's fair enough. I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of causing defensive coordinators nightmares. If you grab that special game-changing back, you also alleviate a little bit of pressure from Hurts, and then you just kind of you make the defense play pick your poison, and that's good. That's gonna I can only imagine having to actually game plan for the running back as well. And then realizing now you've got do that. You've got to do AJ Brown. You've got to worry about Devontae Smith.
But why
and
you couldn't
Goddard.
stop? But you couldn't stop the Eagles last year anyway. So why? What difference does it matter who's back there? Because you couldn't stop it anyway. Because you have two, 3 dynamic receivers and a tight end, and a quarterback that can run. I mean, so you're really, it is pick your poison. So does it really matter who's running the football back there?
Coach, as a defensive
a defensive coordinator speaking, they are set up to put you in a bind. And I don't care who the running back is, because you have to worry about a lot of things with the Eagles. So it's not just pick your poison 1 or 2. You have 5, 6, and 7 you have to pick. So it really doesn't matter that guy, because you've really got to stop that pass, because that's what makes them function. And so if I'm playing the pass, that really opens up the running game. So it really doesn't matter. A running back is running back, is going to get his yards regardless.
I'm disappointed in you, because you just gave up on the whole season.
I did not give up on the whole season at all.
They got a year's worth of game film now.
Yes, you're right. But you just asked me this past season, when I'm looking at the Eagles and where am I stopping? I've got to stop the passing game first. So automatically, I'm not loading the box up. So you have to give some to take something away. So you're taking away if you're going to take away the pass, that's going to open up the running game. Okay. And so it doesn't really matter if it's Miles Sanders or, Nevada Nick running the ball back there. They're going to get some yards, man. Nevada Nick just pulled a hammy trying to do it anyway. So, he pulled a hammy going from the couch to the refrigerator.
So what you're telling me, let's just make sure we're clear, that last year, if the Eagles had gotten Christian McCaffrey in a trade with the Panthers and replaced McCaffrey and Miles Sanders, that would have made no difference.
No, they're still running. They're still going to run their offense the way they run it. And that's a pass first offense. They're not changing. You're asking them to change. Like McCaffrey went to the 49ers. The 49ers are really, they pass off the run. The Eagles run off the pass. So it really doesn't matter who's back there. They're not changing. Their offense doesn't change because of the person back there. Like the Giants, their offense changes because Saquon Barkley's in the backfield. Their offense is completely different when Saquon's not on the football field. That's not the case with the Eagles. It doesn't matter who's in the backfield.
I should have never even tried to debate this with a guy with a guy who was cool with Wayne Gallman being the starter for the Giants over Barkley.
Yeah, I was actually, because because you don't pick a running back in the with the third pick in a draft that someone would have backed up the Brinks truck for your third pick, you idiot. Not you, being the general manager. Who's no longer there. I know. But anyway, it's you know what I mean.
I know. So we've now we've now decimated the Eagles draft. We hit the Ravens, we hit the Eagles. Where are you trying to go next, Coach?
I honestly, because the Giants are going to take me a quick blip. I really, I don't think that there's a center there at 25. I think the Giants will try to trade back. And if not, they may reach on one of those guys at center, but it's got to be a center. I'm just saying. I don't think that the receiver is as big its need as what people are saying. And maybe a corner. And I would be okay with a corner as well. But I really think if you use that pick at 25, the top centers will not be around at the 50th pick. They will be gone already. Do you know what I mean? So you will either have to trade up, or I think it's easier to trade back and maybe gain a couple picks. So All right,
and now, real quick, let's do this since we have a few minutes left. Maybe the toughest puzzle to figure out. What do the Commanders do in their spot and with their needs?
Honestly, I think you're. Do you go DB? They're not picking. I just read today they're not picking up the option for Chase Young, which kind of surprises me. I know the guy's been injured, but when he's on the field, he's that was one of the most formidable foursomes in the league.
Yeah.
But I think you got to work on the back end of that defense. If you're the Redskins, you're going to go back end. I mean, their offense, they got some pieces now. I mean, you give offensive line or back end defense.
So about where they're at, right. So like a Broderick Jones on offensive line, or maybe like a Joey Porter Jr. Maybe beat the Steelers with a punch there.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, right there. So. That's what I'm thinking. Where probably the Redskins, where they're thinking of going. If they go outside of that, would kind of surprise me.
So no Hendon Hooker there.
No, I would. I bet you they draft a quarterback, but probably later, third, fourth round, I could see them taking a quarterback. But I don't think they're at that pace because they drafted that kid last year from North Carolina,
Sam Howell.
From all accounts, he's the guy this year. They're going to let him run the reins. So I don't see them, really pressing at the quarterback spot. So
we're in agreement. We both think it's going to be defensive back or offensive line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
excellent.
And actually, the Jets do still have a first-round pick this year. With that, I just want to say I think they got to go offensive line and help protect Aaron Rodgers. I think if you had a weak spot on that team, it is the offensive line. Beckham, you don't know if he's coming back, what his deal is. He's kind of been a bust so far. So I think you got to look to replace him or someone who's kind of versatile and that you can move along that offensive line.
I agree. Also, I agree they got to get offensive line for them. To wrap up things, we just want to make sure that we understand today what we learned with Coach is that he thinks that running backs are no longer special. There's no such thing as a special running back anymore.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
They're all a dime a dozen.
That's right.
Nevada Nick and Saquon Barkley are interchangeable.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And, and also that, hey, the NFC East is back to being the elite division in the NFC. Because the Redskins really aren't that far away. Especially
losing Aaron Rodgers to the AFC. It just opens up things even more for that wild card spot, right? I've been saying it, and people make fun.
I'm putting the Detroit Lions at the top of that division now. I've been getting
people shitting on me so hard, but I don't want to see the Lions this year.
Yeah,
they are a dangerous team with a new culture, and people can say, "Oh, it's the same old Detroit." It's not. This is different. Like there is a lot of buy-in. Coach, you've been a part of organizations where they bring in the new coach and the new culture, and it takes about 3 years, and when it gels and clicks and everybody is on board, there is a different feeling.
Right. Yeah. And, and I think that's what's going on up there in Detroit. And, everybody forgets, Jared Goff, he did play in a Super Bowl. He did take a team to a Super Bowl. So he's got some experience there, and I think that helps him. Really, I think they are, they're going to focus on defense and they're gonna win with defense and let Jared Goff kind of carry that offense along.
And it's interesting because they're in the Bijan Robinson sweepstakes as well. I think.
I really like that kid up there, the running back, man.
DeAndre
yes,
Swift. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he's a stud. I really do. I don't know that they need another running back up there. So.
And I agree with you, but I'm just talking about what the pundits are saying.
Right, right.
The neat thing is Goff doesn't seem to have the pressure on him.
Right.
It's like this, especially like this head coach.
Detroit. It's Detroit,
but also this head coach has so much personality that the head coach is taking up space where it would usually be reserved for the quarterback, and it's just very interesting, to me to see that play out. I still love from last year. I think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he listed on Hard Knocks all the wide receivers that were taken before him.
Right. Yes.
Like this is a different team. So I think Detroit takes that division, and I do think it's going to free up a situation where we are going to see the NFC East represented in the playoffs with a winner and then some wild card spots.
I agree. And just to jump back real quick with Detroit, it's kind of like Rex Ryan. He's a larger than life personality, and he took a lot of the heat off the team. And I think the same thing with Dan Campbell. He is able, we're going to be biting knees and doing all that, and gets people talking and not really focusing on, and it allows the team to gel, I think, and it's really working well, and I think it's good with them. So, the problem with that type of coach, though, unfortunately, as you saw with Rex Ryan, once it falls, it kind of falls pretty quickly and fast. So hopefully he can keep that thing going.
Yes, sir. All the kneecaps.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. Thank you for having me on today.
Hey, thanks for joining me. And I apologize for everyone expecting Coach Billy and Nevada Nick. Hopefully they'll join us later on. We could get their contracts taken care of and have a post-draft soiree of sorts.
I'm hoping Nevada Nick stays off Twitter with his contract drama. We're gonna set up a GoFundMe for his hamstring, and we'll see how things go.
Yeah. Okay. Because he didn't sign the contract, so he doesn't have he can't just go to the trainer now. He's got to flip the bill himself. So that's what happens. So, all right, everyone, listen, be safe, enjoy the draft this weekend, and again, Robert Mitchell, good luck, buddy. Can't wait to hear your name called, man. Awesome. Put in the work, and you're reaping the rewards. So go get it, buddy. And everyone else, have fun, be good, and we'll talk soon.